There are basically three types of teams, and yeah, that's what I want. Woohoo! Okay, there are three types of teams, basically: directional teams, operational teams, and task teams. Directional teams are best for legislative advisory work. A directional team is like our annual conference session. These types of teams are needed. The trouble is, we tend to try to run all of our teams, boards, and agencies as directional teams. Folks, let me just say, we don't need to spend an abundance of time legislating ministry. We need to be doing ministry. Amen. This is where the second type of team helps us out. And we need to have more of them. The second type of team is an operational team. An operational team is a team that works best for adaptive work. These are teams that meet often and have at their core a covenant for spiritual formation and a process for holding at their core a covenant for keeping one another accountable for growing into the likeness of Christ. And when you work together to grow in the likeness of Christ, you then pave the way for deep trust and respect that enables honest, truthful conversation. This then enables the group not only to have discussion about what needs to be done, but enables the development of action plans that are constantly tied back to that vision, that mission, and those core values. You know, in your workbook, some of the reports you saw, especially on pages 49 and 53, those are examples of action plans. Some people already catching the vision for how to move in new ways. These adaptive teams, these are the teams. Remember that picture of that church floating above the foundation? It's the operational teams that connect the foundation to the buildings in ways that cause the buildings we have to be fueling and refueling stations, not museums or forts, but vessels for God's ever-moving power for unlocking the doors of people's lives. Sometimes directional and operational teams will need a third type of team, which is a task team. This is a team pulled together for technical work for a specified period of time and for a specialized type of ministry or mission. An example of this kind of task team would be the Imagine No Malaria team. It's called together for one purpose, one task. Its task will be complete at the end of April 2014. At that time, the team will be thanked and celebrated for its ministry and mission, and the team itself will be retired. The mistake that we make in the church too often is that we set up these task teams and fail to retire them once the purpose is done. We tend to try to morph them into someone else lest we hurt somebody's feelings, or add things that often result in a loss of passion by the people involved and for the project or for the ministry. So, as we work on a vision for the future, we need to restructure and realign ourselves to have more adaptive teams and train and transform some of our existing teams to be adaptive instead of directive. This model for alignment, ministry, and mission is actually the model given to us by Christ. Christ came and preached to the masses. In preaching to the masses, Christ discovered some who could be leaders in the way. As he discovered those leaders, he then spent time developing those leaders in a smaller group, walking with them, living with them, teaching them how to love and learn and lead, and then he deployed them out into the world to repeat the process. As followers of Christ, we are called to grasp these same keys and follow this same model. Discover, develop, deploy. Say it with me. Discover, develop, deploy. Preaching to the masses, proclaiming the good news broadly, but also discovering, developing, and deploying to fulfill God's vision of a changed world and abundant life. Some people have said, I'm taking the conference 3D.